and it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Rossi is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. FRL, you're beautiful and you're brutal. Welcome back, everyone, here to Split 1, where you can see Imola in the rain. I hope everybody was expecting that, because I sure wasn't. And here we go. So you can see some drivers debating wets to intermediates. I believe it's just intermediate conditions here. If you missed Split 2, you missed what was a really solid fun race here, and I'm hoping Split 1 will bring the same action here. Wet quali, I don't know if it's a wet race or not, and you'll find out with me. It seemed like the weather was changing at the end of Split 2, so I'm really not surprised here with Split 1 being in the rain. And you can see with the drivers going out here that they are prepared for a fun time as well as we watch. So first driver out here is going to be Noda to put in a time. Of course, last week, a lot of fun, a lot of questions there on exactly how that race happened. Spaghetti Mafia ending up with the victory. P2 came out and was Noda, actually. P3 was Ignis, and then, of course, 4th place Tazo, our championship leader, and then Matouche in P2 in the Drivers' Championship was P5 and rounded that out there. Jack was knocked all the way back into P12. We had a few DNFs. Debe, John Meister, Kuba was a DNF, and then Syntex and Maddie DNF'd. Bartosz and Choppa did not start. Fishu ran as a reserve and DNF'd, so Fishu, of course, back again this weekend as a reserve. Ferrari are going to hope to make a standpoint here this weekend. Looking at the constructors, they're currently P5, and I know Ferrari have been saying that they want to finish higher than that. Currently, Alpine, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, your top 3 in the Constructors' Championships, separated by 44 points for the top 3. Mercedes 43 back on Alpine, and AlphaTauri just 1 point behind, so they're going to be really looking to kind of put things together here. We're watching Noda, who has invalidated his lap here in the first sector, so we're going to jump on board here with Bernard, who is out trying to set in a lap. And then, of course, the former FRL champion, Jalajne, coming back this weekend and racing in as a reserve. So all of the drivers, I know they've been joking about, all right, we're battling for P2, everyone, good luck. So should be a fun race to kind of observe and see what happens. He's trying to win here in Imola, which, of course, he won in Imola last season, so we're going to see exactly where he ends up here. He's racing for Haas this weekend as we go through, and we're watching Bernard come down into Rivazza at the moment, and Bernard out on a fairly good lap here in intermediate conditions. Of course, a 1:14.6 was our pole time in Split 2. Here in Split 1 with the wets, we'll see what times come in. 1:24.4 to kick us off here, but of course you're going to have many drivers coming in behind that time. Ignis starting a flying lap here. Bartosz comes through a 1:24.5. JJ and Jack are both on flying laps. JJ has invalidated his lap. Jack is coming around Rivazza here down the main straight, and we will see where Jack lands himself here, and he is going to paint us in with a 1:24.5 purple in the 3rd sector, looking pretty good there. And then Maddie with a 124.3. So times are going to continue to improve, I believe, as we watch. Rain is still here, not going away. A little bit of a slide there from Syntax. Syntax coming down, and Syntax is going to put us in a 125.4, second off the pace, but still looking really strong, my co-commentator there in split 2. Continue to watch drivers come down. Tazo comes across with a 123.8. Championship leader looking really, really good this weekend. And there's Graxent with a 123.9, very, very close behind there. And then John Meister, who is going to be coming across, puts in a 123.5. So time's already starting to ramp up here. 12 minutes, 45 seconds left to go. Matouche comes across a 123.1. So drivers starting to find their footing and put in faster times already. And we're only a few minutes in. Look at Noda, 123.6. Time's continuing to drop down as the drivers run through here. JJ and Fishu both invalidating their laps here. Barthez invalidating his lap. So for some of these drivers, it's just going to be a matter of who can put in a clean lap. Ignis coming around here. He is going to be trying to set in a lap. And you can see just how tricky turn 1 is for these drivers. And the former FRL champion, Jalajne, is out here on the track. So we're going to watch him as he goes through. It should be a fun race to watch from him and really see what the battle ends up here in split 1. Looking really nice as he comes through Aqua Minerale here. Really clean. A little wide there on the apex, but seems to make up for it through his corner exit. JJ already out of the qualifying sessions here. I did not see what happened to him. A little bit of a lockup from Jalajne there as he comes around. And is now on his run down into Rivatsa. Of course, no DRS as it is raining here, but it looks like the rain's already stopped, so the track's going to continue to dry up as the drivers go through. So it's going to be a question of who transitions over onto the soft tires and when. As Jalajne comes across only P10 on his first lap out, 124.3. Not a great lap coming in from the defending champion. Maybe a little bit out of rhythm there, just a little out of practice there. It's been a little bit for him. And Barthez, it looks like, is debating on going on soft tires. I can see them fitted there. Is he going to come out of the pits on soft tires is the question. I would anticipate he's not going to do that yet, though. Buchik here on an out lap. Fishu again trying to set a lap here as we go through on his third round here on these intermediate tires. Will he be able to finally put in a time as he comes through? Of course, Fishu not having a time in yet. Wasserschwein, Buchik, no time in yet. And then Barthez and Kuba, no time in yet. Wasserschwein has started a flying lap here. And Fishu, who is on his 4th lap now on these intermediates, just trying to get a time on the board. Issue coming around. Aqua Minerale looking really, really good as he comes through. DRS is enabled, which means that is the transition period here from the intermediates to the soft tires. The track still looks a little damp on our end, but it may not actually be as damp. And look at that, Fishu sliding around a little bit there. So with DRS being enabled, I would say we're about to see a mad rush onto the track here from the drivers. Fishu coming around the final corner to set in a banker lap here, and Fishu is going to put in a 125.5, so it is hitting that transition period, and we can see Bartosz, first driver out on a set of dry tires, and we're just going to watch him for a minute as he goes through, and it looks like he is having no issues. Even though the track still looks a little damp, it seems like those soft tires are able to cope just fine with the bit of water that's there on the track. Now Bernard is going to be out on a set of soft tires, so we have hit the crossover point, and we are into that soft tire, into the dry compound tires. Little bit of a hiccup there through Aqua Minerale. Still a little bit of a damp track there, but able to cope well, and Bartosz holding on to it as he continues to go around here, and Bartosz will be the first driver on dry tires to set a lap, and we'll see what time he puts in. It is going to be a little bit slower as the track will continue to ramp up as the drivers go through, but it should give us an idea on where times are going to fall here in split 1. 8 minutes left to go here in split 1. And Bartosz a second and a half up through the first sector. So you can see just the difference that the dry compound tires make against the soft compound tire, or the dries against the wet tires. Bartosz coming through Aqua Minerale, and he is going to invalidate that lap he was on. So track still a little slick there. 2.1 seconds Bernard is up in the first sector. So Bernard absolutely flying as well. And we are going to see times continue to come down as the drivers continue to go through. Most drivers on the soft compound tire now, if they're not, they're in the pits changing the tires out. See Bernard, no issues through Aqua Minerale there, as he's going to come up and have the run into Alta and then down into FOXXXES, and purple middle sector up almost 5 seconds here on the time he put in on intermediates. And here is his run through FOXXXES. As he is going to come around, we'll see what time Bernard is able to find as he goes down. Bernard is going to start us off on the dry tires with a 1:16.6. We had faster than that there in split 2, but for transitioning off of intermediate conditions, a really strong time here. We're going to watch Zelazny as he comes through Imola, a track he knows very well and he's won at in the past. And as Zelazny comes through first sector, he's up by nearly 3 seconds. Now he's going to come through Toza into Piertelli. A really clean run there through Aqua Minerale, and now he's going to have the run down to Alta as he comes around. Bartosz a 1:16.3, so times are continuing to drop here with just 5.5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. And look at Zelazny come through here. And Zelazny coming around FOXXXES here down towards the main straight. Kuba puts in a 1:15.3, times really ramping. Zelazny with a 1:15.3, just barely beating out Kuba by 0.5 And then there's Bernard with a 1:15.3 as well. So 3 drivers into the 1:15.3s, separated by less than 0.5 there, and a millisecond the difference between Bernard and Zelazny. So those drivers are on great pace here with laps. Watching Ignis come through Tamburello down into the run to Villeneuve, and coming around, we'll see how Ignis's sector time stack up. Still one of the drivers who have not put in a lap on dry tires yet, and he is up 2 seconds on his time. Graxon into the 1:15.1s coming around, so track continuing to ramp up with around 4 minutes left to go here in this qualifying session. And as Ignis is coming around, still looking very strong here from the Red Bull driver coming through Aqua Minerale. Having no serious issues through his lap so far. He's coming around into the third sector, final corner here of FOXXXES. We'll see what time Ignis will bring onto the table as he comes down and around. Ignis is going to set himself up, and he is going to put in a fairly strong time, it seems, as he's coming around the final corner here. He's going to hug the inside line just as tight as he can as he comes around, and Ignis up into P5 with a 1:15.3. Wasserschwein a 1:15.1, throwing himself up into provisional pole here with 3.5 minutes left to go. Noda coming around Ravazza here on an out lap to start his flying lap, and he'll be one of the final few drivers who have not set a time on dries to go ahead and set a time through. And it seems like he's waited just a little bit to let things open up for him there. A little bit of clean track in front of him, and everybody's already started to rubber it in and ramp up. So Noda taking advantage of the track as best as he can. Now the sun is shining, and time should continue to just get lower and lower if the drivers are able to catch times right here as they continue to run around. And we're seeing Noda with his run here through Alta down heading towards Ravazza, looking very, very clean and tidy here on this lap. And as he comes around Ravazza, it seems like he is going to have a strong time yet again. I love that crash helmet that he's running. And as he comes through, he seems like he's going to be up. How far up is the question? He's going to put in a 1:14.8. So Noda stamping his time down and throwing a great time out. We'll jump on board with Debe here, who is coming through Tosa at the moment on his lap. This should be his first flying lap. And Tazo a 1:14.6. So times are continuing to drop down here. The sun is out, and we're down to just a couple minutes left to go here in the session. A minute and a half. Look at Debe's run here through Aqua Minerale as he's going to continue to have the run through. The Red Bull is going to get well out of his way in the run through Alta, and as they continue to go down, and it looks like Debe coming through trying to set a competitive time. Of course, he has not put in a time since he was on his intermediate tires. He's going to come around here at the final corner, maybe a second or so off the pace. Syntax DNFing out of the session, and it looks like he is actually retired in the pit lane. Debe up into P12 with a 1:16.0, a couple seconds off the pace, but still a very competitive time coming in from him there. Matush has invalidated his lap, and then his teammate Fishu right there behind him. Fishu is on a fairly good run through Aqua Minerale at the moment, cutting very well in, using all of the track. All of the drivers here with 30 seconds to go are looking to get their final laps in here. And I believe the final driver to start a lap is going to be Wasserschwein, who is back behind Fishy as long as he catches the line. I know Jack has just started his flying lap here. Is Wasserschwein going to be close enough to catch the line? Is going to be my next concern here. Wasserschwein has 5 seconds to catch the line here, and I don't believe he caught the line there. So for Wasserschwein, he did catch the line, actually. So Wasserschwein is going to be able to set a lap here. Look at Buchik up with a 1:12.0. Tazo, where did Buchik pull a 1:12.0 from? Hold on now. Jalajne with a 1:14.5 puts himself into P2 here. Noda, a 1:14.8, who is still out on a final flying lap here, and we'll see what Noda can throw through. His teammate Barthez up in front of him. Barthez is going to come across the line. Barthez puts in a 1:15.3. Bernard is going to be next one across the line here, and Bernard is going to put in a 1:15.0, and then you have, I believe that was Ignis behind him, who did not improve. Driver's still out on laps here. Matush is out on a lap coming around the final corner. Jack is out on a lap. Jack is coming through, and Jack is going to put in a 1:14.9. Only good enough for P7. A little bit off the pace there from Jack. And Matush is going to come across and hit P6. Wasserschwein, final driver to put in time here. Wasserschwein coming down the main straight, and it looks like he is going to bring in a 1:14.6, but a 1:12.0 from Buchik out of nowhere. Nearly 2.5 seconds up on any other driver. There's no way that's accurate. That has to be a bug or something, right? But Busick in the garage putting in a 112.0. So that is definitely going to be questioned there for however that happened through. I want to look at sector times here and see. So he put in a 24:26, a 21 in the third sector. And if you look at Jalajne here, 23:25:24. So nearly 3 seconds up on the third sector from Jalajne. I don't understand how that happened. That was insane. So while admin try to sort this out, we're going to hang out for just a second. And it looks like we're actually going to just continue this run, and that is going to be Busick in the lead then from a questionable quali lap. I don't know how to feel about that, but nothing we can do about it now. Top 10 drivers are on softs. Graxent Bartha has 11-12 on medium. Fishu on softs. Ignis through Maddie is on mediums. Syntex and JJ at the rear of the grid are going to be on soft tires. So I don't know what's happening here, but it looks like we are going through with the race, and Busick has dropped way back. Wasserschwein and Matouche have been disqualified from the formation lap here, and it looks like it's going to be Jalajne leading the grid through, even though Busick is in the lead, but Busick dropped way back. So, split one, all the controversy, as split one always tends to do here. And as we're going to watch here, it's going to be Jalajne, Noda, and Tazo forming up here. Last driver to get on the grid is going to be JJ. 19 drivers starting this race here. And pit stop strategy, soft to hard or medium to hard. We did see in split one or split two a lot of soft to mediums, and we saw the mediums last 24 laps. So very mixed strategy here. It's going to be 5 red lights, and we are going to be underway here for the Imola GP here in split one. And look at Busick and Jalajne side by side already running down. That was a massive wreck there from, I believe that was Fishu. What in the world happened to him there? But as we dive into turn one here, Jalajne is going to have the run, and it looks like you can see Noda trying to get Tazo. A massive pile there in the middle of the grid. You can see it looks like Wasserschwein getting very loose there as they go through, and that is going to be a massive run around there. And as the drivers continue to go through, Busick is now retired out of the session with a massive wreck there. And unlike split two, split one is going to bring us a safety car here after lap one with absolute carnage happening already. I don't know what just happened, but that was a lot of things happening at once here. But it looks like for the drivers, most except for Buchik survived through. We're VSC here. For the drivers, this will provide a nice little reset, a nice little breathe. Now AWS says you can do soft to hard or a 2-stop soft medium if you really want to. Maddie getting a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags as they go through here and as they are coming around in the run to Ravazza. Everything is going to be underway. I am very confused as to what exactly just happened there, but Buchik is out of the race. And Fishu, a big run down on the main straight. A big hit there, and Fishu has dropped way back. And as the drivers all cross through, Matusha's into the pits, Debes into the pits. And I would imagine we're going to see Fishu into the pits as well. John Meister potentially into the pits too. And it looks like John Meister is going to go into the pits. Those drivers having their strategies very, very messed up here. Yellow flags all the way around here. And now VSC has been taken back. And if you're Wasserschwein, you're going to be very happy about that. Wasserschwein right on the back here of Kuba, but he's got Noda right behind him as well. So the gap's still very, very close. Tazo and Jalajne, teammates last season, defending constructor champions. Or they helped secure the constructor championship from Mercedes, and they are going to be running through and battling P1, P2. This is going to be a great one to watch here because Tazo is, of course, trying to win the championship this season, and for Jalajne, he is here for fun at this point. Look at Kuba, though, a little bit of a run. Noda spinning out there, and Aqua Minerale dropping very far back there, losing a lot of positions. Jack trying to have a run here on Wasserschwein. Wasserschwein, look at the run he has on Kuba there. He's going to stick a wheel up the inside here going towards Ravazza. He's right on the rear wing. Is he going to try a pass here? Going into Ravazza, he's thinking about going around the outside. He opts not to. Of course, DRS won't be active until the next time they come around the main straight here. But Wasserschwein with Slipstream may be able to get a pass done going into turn 1 anyways. We're starting to see everything run through, and race laps are starting to be set in. The faster and faster they go, and as they come through, Wasserschwein is going to try to have a pass on Kuba here around the inside. He has the pass done, and he is going to settle in here into turn 1. DRS now enabled at the end of this lap here, and Wasserschwein still trying to defend from Kuba behind him, and then Bernard trying to have a run here on Jack as they have a run up into Toza out of Villeneuve. And coming around here, it looks like all of the drivers fairly clean after that first lap carnage. Continuing to go through, Jalajne has 0.6 on Tazo, and then 1.1 seconds between Tazo and Wasserschwein. And then this battle here around the middle of the front of the points is very, very heated up currently. Aqua Minerale, all the drivers getting through there well on this occasion. Coming around here, lap 3 of 32 laps, and you can see half a second the gap between Wasserschwein, Kuba, Jack, Bernard, and then 0.8 back to Ignis. So DRS train is starting to form here. All the drivers very, very close together. Jalajne punching in a time here, but Tazo with DRS trying to get a pass done. Wasserschwein under pressure from Kuba here. No pass there. Barthez getting around Graxent. JJ right in the mix there. Bartosz and Noda battling it out here. And then you've got Maddie back in the back trying to have a pass as well on Noda. So all of these battles are still very, very close as they go through. And watch out for Jack, who is going to be in the mix of things here. JJ very well in the mix as well back on Graxent. We'll keep our eyes on that as we watch the front of the field battle here. And yellow flags through. I don't see any reason for that, so things are back underway here. Tazo dropping way down the grid. That's why we have yellow flags. And Tazo dropping from P2 all the way back into P10 here, trying to battle with JJ here to hold on to P9. He's going to try to go the long way around Ravazza here. Not able to hold on to that, but now he's going to have a lot of pressure from Bartosz and Noda right behind him. But he is going to have DRS here, so that may help him defend his position as they run down the main straight. Now you've got A big battle there between JJ and Graxent. JJ around Graxent there for P8. And now you've got Tazo who's going to try to battle around the inside there on Graxent. They're tire to tire there. A little bit of a push, a little bit of a shove there. Graxent off the track, and that is going to give Tazo P9. Bartosh and Noda are going to move up. Graxent dropping all the way to P12 after a little bit of a friendly push there happening. And now Jack up into P3 here. So it's Jalajne on Wasserschwein on Jack. Some big battles happening now and some big names fighting here in FRL for the positions. This battle for the podium is going to be far from over. And we're only lap 5 in. We've got tons of laps left. And it looks like that is going to be one of the AlphaTauris who has spun out there, and it looks like that was Matoush. Matoush is back underway with no issues. A little bit of front wing missing, though, unfortunately for him. Now we're watching Jack here. DRS open. Does he have the run on Wasserschwein for P2? He does. And now 3 seconds the gap to Jalajne. Jalajne just cruising up at the front of the grid, so we'll watch to see if Jack is going to be able to close up that gap and try to get a pass done here. Matoush into the pits after that spin. Bernard around Kuba there. And Bernard now up into P4. Kuba dropping back into P5. So passes continuing to happen all over the place. It looks like this is a lot of action here on the track, but it's very, very close battling and very, very calculated. The split win drivers are really just trying to survive this race. Looking here at the front of the field, look how close Wasserschwein is on Jack, and Wasserschwein is going to continue to try to push in order to gain enough time in order to get a pass done on Jack down the main straight with the help of DRS. Wasserschwein is coming around as well, so Wasserschwein is very close. Bernard is very close as well, so Bernard is going to try to have a run and get a pass done as well. And then you have Kuba back in the mix as well in P5. Graxent out of the session. It looks like that is probably a connection error, unfortunately, for the Red Bull driver. Yellow flag in Sector 3, though. It looks like that is a spin from Maddie, potentially. Noda, fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:17. Wasserschwein not able to get a pass done there, and following Jack around through Toza as we continue to go through. And now we've lost our gap intervals, but watching through, it looks like Ignis and Kuba might be having a good battle here as we go around, and it looks like that is actually lap traffic getting in the way here for the drivers. They're starting to go around there. It looks like that is the lap driver of Matoush, who they are passing at the moment. And as we go around here, Kuba with a great dive there past Bernard into Ravazza as we go down the main straight here. And now Bernard ghosting out. I don't know what's happened there. As the drivers continue to go around here, JJ and Bernard battling it out there for P6, and it looks like now that Bernard is back in from his connection issues, that is going to be JJ to Ignis to Bernard. Bernard now trying to chase down Barthez here. He's lost a lot of time. And then Bernard spinning there in to Alta. So very interesting there for what happened to him. Matouche, 116.9, fastest lap of the Grand Prix here. Jack up into P2. Jack trying to battle up on Jalajne. Jalajne dealing with lap traffic here. Debe picking up a time penalty here. Wasserschwein still trying to chase down Jack for P2. Everything has kind of opened up here at the moment for these drivers, so things are starting to calm down a bit. Wasserschwein still trying to chase down Jack here around. We're coming into lap 10, starting to get close to the pit window as well. JJ, Jack's teammate, back in P5, trying to chase down Kuba, looking for a double Ferrari podium here. The drivers joked with Jalajne being back. It was just going to be a battle for P2 here. And it looks like that is Wasserschwein into the pits and Kuba going into the pits here. So that is going to open up Ferrari to have a bit of pace and try to stretch out and set themselves up with a strong overcut. The things really starting to kind of calm down here on the track, but look at Matouche and Debe battling it out there. And I don't know who that was that just spun. I believe that was Debe that spun there. That was Debe. And Syntax DNFing out of the session. It looks like a wreck into Aqua Minerale for him. And unfortunately for him, that is going to be a safety car, and that is Syntax's race over. You can see his car right there on the side of the exit of Aqua Minerale. And with that safety car, all of these drivers in the front of the grid are going to be able to settle down and go get into the pits. And for Ferrari, this is a lifesaver because it could lock them up in the front of up on the podium places if they want to double stack. We'll see exactly what their strategy is going to be here for Ferrari. Of course, Jalajne is going to be into the pits. Is Jack going to stay out? Jack is into the pits. Is JJ going to stay out? JJ is into the pits. Ignis is going to stay out at the moment on his 9-lap-old mediums. Barthez is staying out. Bartosz is just now coming around. Ignis up into the lead. Jalajne opting for a 2-stop strategy here, it looks like, onto a fresh set of softs. Same with Jack. JJ being held up there because his teammate pit in front of him. So JJ is going to lose a couple more places than Jack is, and JJ is going to get onto a fresh set of softs as well. Barthez coming out there. Bartosz just now into the pits, and he is going from his set of mediums onto a fresh set of softs. So a lot of these drivers deciding on 2-stop strategies as they go through. So Noda opting for mediums and John Meister opting for mediums along with Fishu. So it really is going to be interesting to see what these drivers decide to do strategy-wise. Both Red Bulls currently in P1-2. Of course, that is a Mercedes of Debe separating them at the moment, the lap car. But Ignis and Graxon at P1, P2, and the Red Bulls on 10-lap-old mediums. So it'll be interesting to see if or when they decide to pit and if they're going to try to stretch these mediums out. We saw in Split 2, the mediums could last 23, 24 laps. Of course, it was very risky and the drivers were risking punctures, but it was doable if you could try to hold on to it. So that could be what the drivers are going to try to decide to do here as they go through. Looking at the big gains and losses here so far in the race, up 13 places is Ignis, up 9 is Graxon. Of course, they haven't made a pit stop. JJ is up 12 places after his DNF during quali, so great move there. Ignis and Graxon, the only drivers that have not stopped yet so far in this race. Of course, the big losers so far, Noda and Tazo both down 6 positions. Matoush down 8 and John Meister down 6. Bartosz has done well to work his way up as well. DNFs of Syntex and Buchik, both Aston Martins, out of this race here. Looking through penalties, Matoush with 6 seconds, Fishu and Debe with 3 seconds each. So pretty clean racing so far from these drivers as we see it. And it's only going to continue here with 20 laps to go and safety car out. We're really going to start to see these drivers sort of settle in or start to push a bit harder. Jalajne, I would imagine, is going to kind of settle back because Ignis and Graxon still have to pit. So are they really competition for Jalajne? That is a good question for them. It is a different pit strategy. So when they pit, especially since now we've had a safety car in the field is bunched back up, if there's not a large gap, they could come out fairly far back in the points. So an interesting strategy call from Red Bull here. I wonder if they are banking on another safety car or not. I would guess that the safety car is going to be in this lap as they run up Toza, which is the uphill left-hander hairpin. A really, really pretty corner as they run around here. And we're on lap 13 of 32. For Ignis and Graxon, it is just going to be a matter of on those mediums, just kind of battling through and trying to hold on to track position and possibly building up a gap. The mediums are going to be in a good place now as far as tire temps and everything because of being behind the safety car for a few laps. They're coming through Aqua Minerale here, and the safety car has not been called in yet. And there is the call from race control to bring the safety car in this lap. So Ignis and Graxon will take control of the field here, and we'll see what sort of strategy they're going to have in terms of the race restart. We can see Ignis already kind of going a bit there, not building a great gap to the safety car, and Graxon holding a few cars back there, which is really interesting. So now he's going to slow it down. He's going to try to hold on as they come around the final corner. When is Ignis going to decide to go? He's not gone around the final corner, and I wonder if that's going to catch anyone off guard there. And now he's going to be back underway, and I think he caught his own teammate off guard there, to be honest. So 1.1 seconds the gap there, and now you have Jalajne, who is already trying to fight Graxon going down in turn 1, and they are going to be winged a bumper there. And as they go around here, is Jalajne going to try to have a dive into turn 1? He is not. But then you have Jack right behind him there. And Jack and Jalajne had some great battles last season. So we'll see exactly where that battle ends up as we watch other drivers here through the field. You can see Kuba trying to get a good pass there. There's JJ in P9 coming around. And look right behind JJ there at Tazo and Bartosz. And Bernard dropping back a few places there. Bartosz getting advantage of it. Tazo getting a little bit loose there, I believe, and slotting back in there. So great battles back for the last of the points paying places. And as the drivers come through, it looks like that is going to sort itself out. Now back up in the front of the field here, Jalajne only a 10th off of Graxon. And things are going to continue to heat up here in the front of the field as we're approaching the halfway mark here of this race, and the drivers are continuing to go around, and Jalajne knows that he just needs to hold on. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car, so for Jalajne, it is all about slipstream and speed, and just look how close he is to Graxon as they come through. He breaks from the slipstream for just a second and loses a little bit of time. Jack is there in the slipstream as well. He's going to try to slip around Graxon as well. Graxon might get sandwiched if he's not careful, but for another lap, Jalajne is going to hold on there. But is Jack trying to have a pass on Jalajne? It looks like Jack might have a little bit of a dive up the inside here going into Villeneuve, and for Jack, that does work. Jack up into P3 as we go through, and now Jack is going to be free to try to chase down Graxon and Ignis as the drivers go. And we've got great battles in the back as well. Look at this battle between Kuba and Wasserschwein and Barthez that is starting to develop. They do, of course, have the lap car Fishu or Matouche there in the mix as well. Not a great race from AlphaTauri at all. Going to be a race they want to forget. Jalajne, a 1/10 of a second back here off of Jack, holding on as close as he can. Ignis trying to hold on the lead and picking up a penalty there for corner cutting. And now Jack is trying to have an attack here on Graxon going into Rivazza. Not able to get anything done there, but he's trying whatever he can to get something between him and Jalajne, because Jalajne is going to have some strong pace there. And look at that. Jack is going to dive there to the left-hand side of Graxon. They're side by side going down the main straight here, heading down into Tamburello. Is he going to be able to have a pass? And he's still got the track position. He's going to have the inside that turns to the outside there. Graxon's going to hold on a little bit of bump and run there, and that is going to open up Jack up into P2 there, and then Jalajne is going to try to follow him through as well. Jalajne trying to hold on to the inside again, and that is Graxon. Graxon has spun there. And then that opens up absolute carnage there in the midfield there. Look at JJ, Bartosz, Noda, Bernard, and Barthez battling there in the middle. You can see Bernard trying to have an advantage as well and hold on there. And things kind of just got very chaotic for a second. And unfortunately for Graxon, he has dropped all the way back into P15. I believe he has had some contact with another driver here. Again there through Toza. I don't know who that would have been, but unfortunately for Graxon, he went from running P2 all the way into P15 now. Unfortunately, that is going to spell a disaster for his race, especially as he hadn't even pit yet. So now he has to go into the pits, and that's going to drop him even further back. Now we're going down the main straight here. DRS is now open, so Jack trying to have the run on Ignis. Ignis, of course, has not pit yet. So for Ignis, this is a battle for him, and he is going to just let Jack go, no questions asked. So Jack now has a car between him and Jalajne, and Jack has open air in front of him, so he is free to go ahead and take off and try to run away. And look at Bartosz. Bartosz getting past Noda. Whoa, big run there between Noda and Bernard. Bernard straight into the wall there. And Noda somehow holding on to that. And you can see raindrops starting to fall. So maybe this is why we hadn't seen any pits yet from Ignis or Graxon. Going onto the intermediates here early. So Graxon, first driver out onto the intermediates, and we'll see if that helps him out. And now safety car deployed as we have lost Debe from this race spinning. And for all of these drivers are going to be very happy with that. Unfortunately for Graxon, that is going to resolve him to the back. But every driver, I would imagine, is going to be diving into the pits to get on intermediate tires. We'll see if there's anybody who doesn't pit here. I think we're about to have a very busy pit lane. And a little bit of brake checking here and almost some collisions. Every driver into the pit lane here. And every driver getting onto the intermediate tires. Lap 18 of 32, and we are over halfway here. And for Jack, he is going to come out ahead of Jalajne. Great stop there. Ignis onto a set of hards, which I believe might have been an error for him. Fishu onto a set of hards as well, so I don't know if the driver's meant to do that or if that was an accident. We'll follow Ignis around here and see how his car holds on to the track here. So I'm trying to figure out if it's going to rain for a while, because you can look and you can see now there's no rain at all. So, or very little rain. So the drivers that went over to intermediates, I'm wondering if they may have made wrong calls, depending on if this rain is going to get any worse or not, or if Ignis and Fishu are the ones that made the wrong call. So, and we're starting to see the sun is out, but there is water, and now Ignis is going to decide to go into the pits. I don't know what his strategy call is going to be here for Ignis. Fishu now out of the session. It looks like he spun coming out of Ravazza. And we can see intermediate tires on John Meister and Ignis now. So they have opted to go on to wet weather tires here. DRS, well, we're under safety car, so I can't tell you if DRS is enabled or disabled, but typically that is where you get your call for going on to the intermediate tires from dry compounds. John Meister going on to a set of softs. And I don't know what the reason for that would be at this point, because every other driver is on intermediates. Maybe he just doesn't think that it's wet enough yet. Rain is the weather report, so I have to think that that is an error from John Meister as well. Or he knows something that we don't, and this is a massive strategy gamble. Safety car is going to be in this lap, so that means Jack is going to be in the lead and will take control of the field here to defend from Jalajne through the end of the race, and we'll see exactly how this goes. Not the first time Jack has found himself in this position. I'm sure it won't be the last. So Jack has control of the field. He's going to go around and try to get some heat in those intermediate tires in order to ensure they're working. And Bernard gets a big penalty for a collision with Maddie. Don't know what happened there, but as we come around final corner, Jack is going to get us back underway here. Lap 20, we're starting. 12 laps to go as we come down and around. And Jack has a big run already on Jalajne. And as we watch here, Jack able to take advantage early. John Meister, though, still on the soft compound tires, which is a very interesting call. The driver's coming around. Things are very, very quiet right now as we watch here. I want to see what John Meister is doing on these soft tires, because he seems like he still has a bit of pace there in those tires, even though there is rain coming down. And I mean, just look at the difference he's having between himself and Barthez and Noda. I mean, just look how quickly he's flying past Barthez there, just like it's nothing. He's having no issues running on those soft compound tires. It's really, really weird to see, but look at him. He's going to fly past Tazo. So he's basically going to put himself into the lead just off of one lap, just based on a tire call. But rain is continuing to come down, so you have to wonder, how long is this going to last, and is he going to cause another safety car from a big gamble diving down the inside of Bartosz there like it's nothing? And John Meister on the softs up into P6. A bunch of drivers into the pits now, and I'm wondering why those drivers are opting into the pits. All of them are going back onto dry compound tires. So for John Meister, apparently all of the drivers are going to follow him through. Medium tires going on for some drivers, softs going on for others. 11 laps to go. And for John Meister, I think the call he made was absolutely correct. As he goes through, he's now fought himself from the back of the grid up into P5 in less than a lap and a half. And there's a spin back from Matoush. I believe Matoush overheating his tires there. intermediates were not the call, it appears. And for John Meister getting the call absolutely right, and even his teammate had the call wrong, and now he's going to be stuck behind his teammate here as they go through Aqua Minerale, and still having no issues there. You could see Wasserschwein trying to hold back John Meister there on those soft tires, and Wasserschwein on the intermediates, less pace, but continue to watch the speed that he's going through there. Matouche spinning again in Aqua Minerale, having a horrible time. Look at the dive down the inside John Meister is able to do with some major grip, and now he's going to be right on the rear of Kuba as they go through. And what are the other drivers going to do? Jack has opted to go into the pits here. Bad strategy call from him. DRS enabled here, so it's not wet enough for the intermediate tires like the drivers thought it was. And look at John Meister. He's going to have himself a run all the way up into P2 here now. So John Meister in 2 laps going from the back of the grid into P2. This is an amazing strategy call if he's gotten this right. And did he bluff other drivers into pitting for dry tires and it's going to get wet again? You have to wonder that and exactly what his strategy call is here. But John Meister now up into P2 and really trying to chase down there. And Matouche has DNF'd out of the race and retired in the pit lane. I would imagine that's after his multiple spins, some sort of a mechanical error or some sort of error all the way around. Look at John Meister, though, closing up over a second on Gelajne in less than half a lap. And is they're going to have the run down and around into Aqua Minerale here. Continuing to run. A few drivers still out on intermediates. Lots of drivers went back onto the dry compound tires. So it really is a guessing game on what is the correct strategy right now, because if John Meister has this wrong, he's going to reserve himself to being in at least P6. So how long are these dry compound tires going to handle this bit of rain? On board with them, it seems like the track is a little bit wet already, so you have to wonder when the call is going to be. But DRS is still enabled, so draining his battery, DRS open. Is he going to have this pass done? It doesn't seem like he's struggling with tire temps either. Looking down at his steering wheel there, he's got the pass done out of the way. So John Meister now up into the lead here, and now it's going to be a matter of just building up a gap for him. So John Meister just running away on soft compound tires. It makes no sense to me how he's doing that. Look at Jack, though, battling with his teammate JJ here. I wonder if they're going to hold places, if they're going to swap, what their plan is here on this run up into Toza. They come around yellow flag sector 2. It looks like that is going to be for John Meister, who spun going through Aqua Minerale. So John Meister possibly finding himself at the point where it is not beneficial, and there's the disabling of DRS. So any drivers that pit because of John Meister got bluffed very hard. Gelajne, Kuba, Wasserschwein, and Barthez all with great calls to stay out on intermediates and just try to keep their tires cool here. So now all of the drivers from P5 back are going to have to pit again. Bernard is going to find himself pretty far up here as pit stops begin to cycle. So you would have to imagine all of these drivers are going to have to pit now. And for John Meister, it was a great call for a little bit, and it got him all the way up into P5 if he's able to hold on here. So John Meister bluffing half the field here into making an alternate strategy call and pitting again after they had already pit. Now you've got every driver from John Meister back is going to be into the pits here. A double stack coming in from Ferrari here. JJ's in. You can see his teammate right behind him going in. His teammate's going to lose positions there too. I believe that is Tazo. Tazo's going to come out ahead of Jack, and Maddie, I believe, is going to get past Jack as well. Maddie actually still needed to hit his box. So Jack is going to come out behind Tazo now. And again, the bluff of a strategy call here. John Meister onto a fresh set of softs. I don't know why he did that. You can see it's entirely too wet for the track to hold on here. And same with Ignis. Ignis onto a set of soft tires still. The track is entirely too wet to handle this. But the drivers think that they can continue to hold on to this. And keep going, which, judging by race times, they're not able to at all. John Meister spinning out of Toza here. So they are going to have to pit in for wet compound tires at this point. There's no way they can hold on to the end of the race. The rain is continuing to pick up. Ignis now DNFing out of Aqua Minerale here, and that is going to deploy a safety car. Lap 24 of 32, and we are on our third safety car here of this Grand Prix. And the weather really, really playing a toll here on these FRL drivers. We'll jump on board with John Meister here, as John Meister is, I would assume, having to come into the pits now. So all of those positions he gained by going on to the soft tires when everyone else called for intermediates, he's lost all of it now by opting back onto a set of softs when he should have switched over to intermediates. He risked it and gambled and then just rolled the cards a little too hard. So now he's lost positions again. And you can see the Alfa Romeo pit crew putting on intermediate tires for him. And John Meister is going to come out here in P11. And Graxon, I believe, is going to actually come out through there. And Jalajne now picking up the safety car here. Lap 26. So we'll follow the safety car around, wait for the field to bunch up. And then we will have just a few lap shootout here to the end of the Grand Prix. Looking at the front of the field here, go through. So it's a really, really close battle so far, it seems, between Jalajne and Kuba. Of course, now they have Graxent between them, but Graxent being a lap car will get out of their way very quickly, I'm sure. Looking here, JJ up 13 positions, Noda down 10 positions. Those are the big gain and the big loss here of this race so far. Matty up 8, Bartosz up 6. Now with a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Barthez is up 8 positions. Jalajne finding himself in the lead here. And then Bernard up 5. Barthez up 8. Kuba is up 4. DNF so far this session. Ignis, Matush, Fishu, Debe, Syntex, and Buchik out of this race. Bartosz, Barthez, and Kuba all have 3-second time penalties, and those are the only penalties we have. You can see 6 stops from John Meister, and everybody else has done at least 2 stops. It looks like 3 stops, 4 stops from other drivers. Graxent now out of the session. So we're down to 12 cars left in this race. The rain really mixing things up here, and then at the same time, drivers trying to make bold strategy calls and then just getting it completely wrong here. So John Meister could have been up in the lead of this race, I believe, but he for some reason went back onto soft tires, and I can't seem to wrap my head around why. Coming around for lap 20, coming around under safety car. Safety car will be out at least one more lap here as the field is finishing bunching up. It looks like John Meister is going to be the last car that we're waiting to bunch up here. And Graxon asking, can we delete this game? I will be more than happy to delete this game once the season is over and we switch over to F122, which I believe will be the game of next season, if I'm not wrong. If it's this game next season, then I think everybody is going to lose their mind. So watching through here, Jalajne, of course, we all said it was a battle for second place. Jalajne deciding to come out of retirement and off of the pit box and out onto the grid, and we can see he has lost none of his spunk here. Up in P1, great strategy calls, great calls all the way around. Lap 28 of 32. I would imagine that safety car is going to be in this lap, which would mean we have a 4-lap shootout to the end of the Grand Prix here in the weather. So as we watch the drivers coming around Toza here, turn 7, also known as Toza, I've been referring to the tracks, or I've been referring to the corners as the corner names this whole time, so... I'm really curious to see if anyone can pull up a little bit here and kind of mix things up as we go through, because at the moment Tazo, of course, in our drivers championship, Tazo is sitting P1, Matoush P2. Matoush is out of the race, and then Spaghetti Mafia is P3. Spaghetti Mafia, of course, not racing this weekend, so Kuba is in P4, and he is 16 points down from Tazo, so this may help him close up the gap and move further up as the two between him are out. And then, of course, Jack currently sitting P8, so Jack would fall back a bit. Actually, Jack would move up a bit because Buchik is out as well, so be a good little mix-up here in the points as we go through. Safety car is in this lap, which means Jalajne is going to have control of the field here. Kuba and Barthez are going to be looking to keep up with him here. 4 laps to go as they cross the line. And Jalajne opting to get underway there. And then Barthez, or Noda, diving into the pits. I don't know exactly what for there, but Noda opting into the pits at a very weird time here. But we're back underway here. You can see Jalajne having a good run already there on Kubo, with drivers continuing to go. JJ only 0.3 of a second here off of Bernard, trying to get a pass. Look at Tazo sliding around big time. Noda onto wet tires. This might be a great call here. You can see drivers are struggling with grip very hard, and you can see the puddles forming on the track, so it definitely could be time for wet weather tires. Things have ramped up drastically in just the last little bit. Look at the amount of puddles on the track here, and look at this. Wasserschwein and Bernard drag racing there side by side, and is Noda going to have a great call here going onto the wet weather tires? I'm sure everybody is going to be watching what he's doing there. The changing conditions again, mixing things up. Is Jalajne going to opt to stay out? Jalajne going very slow, very timid around here. Kuba trying to hold on. The rain just seems to be picking up even more as we watch here. And look at JJ and Jack, an absolute run on Wasserschwein here. But just a few laps left. Are they going to opt for pit, or are they just going to try to struggle through for the rest of the race here? John Meister and Maddie battling in the very back of the field here. John Meister, a 3-second time penalty applied. Nobody blinking to go into the pits here. You can see JJ going very wide there. Oh, in contact there between JJ and Wasserschwein. JJ just didn't have the room to come back in and came back in on him anyways. And for JJ, that is going to be very unfortunate there, as I'm sure there's going to be a review on that one. And for Jack, that allowed Jack to get through as well. So Wasserschwein dropping back into P7. Tazo P8 there under a lot of pressure from Maddie. Maddie getting around Tazo there. Very timidly again. None of the drivers wanting to pit here with just a couple laps to go, but you can see they are slipping and sliding everywhere. Tazo dropping back another position to John Meister there, and he's got Bartosz right behind him as well. So Tazo about to drop out of the points after starting up at the front of the grid. Continue to watch all of these battles open up here. You can see grip is very few and far between for these drivers. They are sliding everywhere, just not having a great time as they go here. At this point, it's just the drivers trying to survive these final 2 laps because you can see the puddles forming. So it really is a matter of, are these tires lasting? And you can see the tire temps at the bottom right here of JJ's wheel. Tire temps are down in the 60s now. So it really is 50-50 on if this is where they need to be, but too late to come in now. And you can see the gap that Kuba has here. You see the tires locking up there on Kuba, so it's just not happening. And here goes Wasserschwein and Maddie battling it out here, and it's going to be Maddie who gets the advantage on Wasserschwein. Wasserschwein on 12-lap old intermediates, losing a little bit of touch here. And Jack, of course, sitting right behind his teammate JJ. JJ yet to finish in the points here this season in FRL. And so far, JJ is on pace for a top 5 finish. Lap 31 and 32, just a lap and a half left to go. And it amazes me that none of these drivers opted to pit in for any other tires. After the amount of pit stops they've already done, it really does shock me that none of them thought to do another pit stop. Especially with the way the rain's picked up, and you can see how some of these drivers are struggling for grip and how slow they're getting here. As Jalajne is bringing us around to start our final lap here, we have to say it is great to see last season's champion back in racing here, even if he is dominating and making things hard for the rest of the guys as they go through. Come around the final time, Bernard trying to close up here. Jack still just settling behind his teammate here and not really trying to cause any issues as they go around. The gap continuing to open here, and look at that, Bartosz and Wasserschwein battling out. For Wasserschwein, he's going to have P10. Tazo is going to finish outside of the points here, it appears. Jalajne coming around down toward Aqua Minerale. And for Jalajne, it's been a very tidy race from him. Great strategy calls, nothing crazy going on. And for Jalajne, it's going to be a great victory back here in FRL. He's got just Ravazza to manage here as we go around. Jack picking up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, but Maddie 5.5 seconds behind, so may not be an issue for him. You can see lots of penalties have been handed out in the last little bit, but for Jalajne, a very clean, tidy race, reminding everyone that he was the champion last season. He's going to come across the line here, and Jalajne is going to win here in Imola, here in Split 1, and Kuba's going to come across P2, and Barthez will come across, but with penalties, JJ is going to find himself on the podium here. Barthez P4, Bernard P5, Jack 6, Maddie 7th, John Meister, who is coming down into P8. Bartosz is going to come across P9. Tazo is going to finish in the points here with a last-second pass, and Wasserschwein, who spun there in the final corner out of Ravazza, is going to come across, if he can make it across the line, just barely. Wasserschwein is going to finish P11, and he is struggling just to get his car around, and he's going to back it across the line. That is amazing. So that is going to be our race over here. And look at Wasserschwein finishing in style. He couldn't drive it forward, so he had to drive it backwards. But Jalajne through, JJ finding himself on the podium here. Ferrari up on the podium places. What a great race. Weather always mixing things up here in FRL, and weather rearing its ugly head again and just showing us why things can get so crazy here in FRL. A great podium celebration. Haas on the top step of the podium with Jalajne coming in as a reserve. So it's Jalajne, Kuba, JJ, Barthez, Bernard, Jack, Matty, John Meister, Bartosz, Tazo, Wasserschwein, and Noda, all of the finishing drivers. Looking through here, lots of track limits warnings, a few collisions there, here and there, but track limits seem to be the big name of the game. So, a very crazy race, that's for sure. A few DNFs, some drivers just retiring out, but overall, a very exciting race. Split one always a little bit different than split two, but nevertheless, always the fun race to watch. And that is going to be where we end off this round 4 here of FRL. Next week is round 5, and where are we racing here for round 5? I hear you asking, and I am going to tell you round 5 is going to be Baku, Azerbaijan. A great track. I'm sure JJ is excited for it. And I'll see you next week.